My boyfriend and I were driving through a dense, wooded area in our RV in Virginia. We got to the deep forest and parked our RV in a peaceful place surrounded by trees and mountains. We hike up in the mountains to see the sunset. When we got to the high part of the area, it was so beautiful. We were talking about how happy it is for us to have such a beautiful life with our home RV. As my boyfriend and I were talking about our lives, my boyfriend pointed to something huge in front of us, about 40 feet away. It looks like a giant bird just standing on the rock, but the weird thing is that it has 2 legs like a human, and it is also too big to be any type of bird. My boyfriend then whispers, "Come on, let's go." I look at his face and see fear in his eyes. That is when that thing turned to look at us. When that thing spreads its wings to take off, it is as big as a car or truck. My boyfriend and I took off running to our RV, and right when we got to our RV to lock the door, something landed on top of the RV. It sounded loud and like a giant rock had fallen on top of the RV. I took a look outside, and to my horror, I saw giant feathers. My boyfriend then saw the same thing, started the engine, and stepped the gas out of that place. It was getting dark, and we were driving through a dense, wooded area in our RV. The only sounds were the humming of the engine and the rustling of leaves in the wind. We were on a quiet road, surrounded by towering trees that seemed to stretch endlessly into the sky. The only source of light was the dim glow of our headlights, cutting through the darkness. The air felt heavy with an eerie silence, making the atmosphere unsettling. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a massive object appeared in the sky above us. It was enormous and seemed to defy the laws of physics as it hovered directly over our RV. My boyfriend, panic-stricken, swerved the vehicle in an attempt to avoid whatever was looming above us. The mysterious object blocked out the moonlight, casting an ominous shadow over the road. Fear took over, and my boyfriend pressed on the gas pedal, urging our RV to go faster. The road twisted and turned, but the giant object maintained its position above us. It seemed to be watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. We were on edge, our hearts racing as the strange encounter unfolded in the darkness. Just when we thought the ordeal was over, a chilling sight unfolded. A large humanoid creature with sharp claws and wings stretched across 20 feet swooped down in front of our RV, blocking our view of the road. The headlights illuminated its grotesque form, revealing a body covered in scale-like patterns reminiscent of a big fish. It had the shape of a human, but its features were monstrous and otherworldly. My boyfriend slammed on the brakes, bringing our RV to a complete stop. The creature lingered, staring at us with menacing eyes. The air inside the vehicle became thick with tension as we realized the enormity of the situation. We were face to face with a creature that defied explanation, a nightmarish entity that seemed to have emerged from the depths of the woods. Desperation kicked in, and my boyfriend honked the horn in an attempt to scare off the creature. Miraculously, it worked. The creature let out an otherworldly screech and took to the air once again, disappearing into the night. We wasted no time and accelerated, determined to put as much distance between us and that horrifying encounter. However, the nightmare was far from over. The creature, undeterred by our attempts to escape, followed our RV relentlessly. It swooped in front of us, its wings casting ominous shadows on the road. My boyfriend drove faster, maneuvering the RV with urgency as the creature persisted in its pursuit. As we approached a busy highway, relief washed over us. The creature, perhaps unwilling to expose itself in the midst of civilization, turned back and disappeared into the trees. We drove on, leaving the haunting woods of West Virginia behind us. Looking back, the memory of that night still sends shivers down our spines. The unexplainable encounter with a monstrous creature in the darkness of the West Virginia woods is a chilling tale that we will never forget. A tale that reminds us that some horrors are best left in the shadows. The air was thick with the scent of pine as my son and I set up camp by the serene lake. We were in our cozy RV, excited for a fishing trip that promised father-son bonding and big catches. The east side of the lake seemed perfect, and the sun painted the sky with warm hues. We threw our lines into the water, the anticipation of a good catch making our spirits soar. But as I scanned the trees, an uneasiness crept over me. There, in the shadows, a man stood watching. His eyes met mine, and a shiver ran down my spine. "Can I help you?" I called out, but the man simply gave me a smile and vanished into the dense woods. I brushed off the discomfort, attributing it to an overactive person camping nearby. We continued fishing, but my unease lingered like a haunting echo. As the day wore on, we decided to try our luck on the other side. The scenery was beautiful, but my sense of unease persisted. Glancing into the trees, my heart skipped a beat. The same man was there, silently observing us. This time, I couldn't ignore the chill crawling up my spine. "Let's move again," I suggested to my son. We relocated closer to our RV. I hoped that the change in scenery would shake off the eerie feeling that clung to me like a stubborn shadow. As we settled in, the sun dipping below the horizon, the unsettling sensation returned. I turned my gaze toward the woods, and there he was again. The mysterious man, watching us from behind a tree. This time, frustration and anger welled up within me. It was no longer a mere coincidence. With a stern expression, I lifted my son inside the RV and gathered our belongings, determined to confront the intruder. Gripping my gun, I approached the spot where the man had been standing. The woods were silent, and my footsteps echoed in the quiet night. When I reached the location, my eyes widened in shock. There, behind a tree, was the man's head, detached from any body, peeking out at me. It wore a chilling smile and blinked up at me with lifeless eyes. The world seemed to freeze around me as I tried to comprehend the unnatural sight before me. I hesitated, fear gripping my chest, but curiosity drove me forward. I took a look behind the tree. It doesn't have a body, just a head sticking to a tree and peeking from behind. "What? What are you?" I stammered, my voice barely audible. The head continued to smile, its gaze fixed on me. It was a surreal and disturbing sight. As I moved closer, the head spoke in a soft, disembodied voice. "I've been watching, waiting." I recoiled, horror coursing through my veins. Without a second thought, I turned and sprinted back to the RV, clutching my son tightly. We hastily left the camping site, leaving the eerie head behind in the dark woods. The memory of that night will forever linger in my nightmares. The inexplicable encounter with the detached head haunted my every thought. I couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere in those woods, something unnatural and malevolent was watching, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim. It was a chilly autumn day when my family and I decided to embark on an adventure with our brand new RV. We were thrilled, packed with excitement and a sense of freedom as we hit the road. Our destination? The mysterious hunting island Lighthouse. As we arrived at this secluded island, the air was thick with an eerie vibe. Tall trees lined the winding road leading to the lighthouse, casting long shadows that seemed to dance with the whispering wind. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, setting the stage for an unforgettable experience. We parked our RV near the beach, the waves crashing against the shore in a haunting melody. The hunting island lighthouse loomed in the distance, a tall, lonely silhouette against the darkening sky. Its beam of light rotated, cutting through the night like a spectral presence. Curiosity led us to the lighthouse keeper's quarters, a weathered building that stood as a witness to the island's history. Inside, we found old photographs and faded newspaper clippings telling the tale of a lighthouse keeper who had tried and tragically failed to save a drowning boy many years ago. The story unfolded as we read, the words hauntingly simple yet chilling. The lighthouse keeper, a man dedicated to his duty, had spotted a young boy struggling in the turbulent waters. Without hesitation, he raced to the rescue, battling the fierce currents that threatened to swallow the child whole. Despite his desperate efforts, the lighthouse keeper was unable to reach the boy in time. The waves claimed the young life, leaving the lighthouse keeper devastated. Some say that even in death his spirit couldn't rest, forever pacing the beach, searching for the boy he couldn't save. As the night deepened, we couldn't resist the pull of the lighthouse. With flashlights in hand, we made our way to the imposing structure. The beam of light swept over us periodically, casting an otherworldly glow on the sand. The air grew colder, and a shiver ran down my spine as I thought about the lighthouse keeper's tragic tale. The closer we got, the more pronounced the feeling of being watched became. Shadows danced on the walls of the lighthouse, and the sound of distant footsteps echoed in the stillness. We climbed the narrow staircase, the creaking of each step sending a shudder through our bones. As we reached the top, the view was breathtaking. The moonlit ocean stretched endlessly, and the rhythmic pulse of the lighthouse beam created an eerie ambiance. Suddenly, the air turned thick with an unspoken presence, and a cold breeze wrapped around us, causing our flashlights to flicker. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. A soft whisper carried through the wind, almost like a mournful sob. My family exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of the lighthouse keeper's grief palpable in the air. In the distance, a figure appeared on the beach, a silhouette of a man pacing back and forth, as if forever searching for something lost. The realization sent chills down my spine. The lighthouse keeper, trapped in an eternal quest to find the boy he couldn't save. As we descended the stairs, the feeling of being watched lingered. The beam of light overhead seemed to flicker in rhythm with our racing hearts. Our RV awaited us in the darkness, a safe haven from the haunted history of Hunting Island Lighthouse. As we drove away, the silhouette of the lighthouse keeper continued its lonely vigil on the beach, a ghostly figure forever bound to the tragedy that unfolded on those shores. The memory of that night would stay with us, a chilling reminder that some stories, once etched in the fabric of a place, never truly fade away. It was a warm summer day when my family and I decided to take our RV to the desert for a vacation. We were excited to explore the vast sandy landscape and experience the beauty of nature. Little did we know that our adventure would take a spine-chilling turn. As we drove deeper into the desert, the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the sandy dunes. The sky turned shades of orange and pink, creating a breathtaking scene. We found a quiet spot to park our RV for the night, surrounded by the eerie silence of the desert. After setting up camp, we gathered around the flickering campfire, sharing stories and laughter. As the night grew darker, a sense of unease settled upon us. It was as if the desert held secrets that were about to reveal themselves. I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were being watched. The wind whispered through the dunes, carrying with it an otherworldly chill. My family brushed off my concerns, attributing them to the spooky atmosphere of the desert at night. Unable to resist the allure of the night sky, I decided to take a walk alone, hoping the cool desert breeze would calm my nerves. As I strolled among the towering dunes, I noticed a strange light in the distance. Intrigued, I followed it, my footsteps leaving imprints in the soft sand. As I approached, I saw a figure standing on top of a dune. The moonlight illuminated the silhouette of a man, his features shrouded in darkness. What caught my attention was the way he moved. It was as if he was floating above the ground, taking steps without ever touching the sand. My heart pounded in my chest as fear gripped me. I called out to the figure, but he remained silent, continuing to glide effortlessly across the desert floor. Panic set in as I stumbled backward, my mind struggling to comprehend the surreal sight before me. I turned and sprinted back to our camp, my breaths ragged and uneven. I woke up my family, desperately trying to convey the unsettling encounter I had just witnessed. They exchanged worried glances, but dismissed my story as a product of an overactive imagination. Despite their skepticism, We decided to pack up and leave the eerie spot. The RV rumbled to life, and we drove away from the mysterious figure and the haunting desert night. As we left the area, I stole glances out of the window, and to my horror, I saw the same person walking on air without touching the ground. I yelled, and all my family saw it too. To see the floating man following us. The unease lingered as we reached the safety of a well-lit rest area. We gathered our thoughts, attempting to make sense of the inexplicable events that had unfolded in the desert. The memory of the man who seemed to walk on air haunted my thoughts, leaving an indelible mark on our vacation. To this day, whenever we reminisce about that fateful night in the desert, a chill runs down our spines. We may never know the true nature of the mysterious figure, but one thing is certain. The desert holds secrets that can send shivers down the bravest of spines, and the memory of that night will forever be etched in our minds.